Hello, my friends. Miss Jenkins here, your art teacher from Roberts. Do you remember me? We've already met, we've met one time so far, and we're gonna meet again soon. So this, you guys, is going to be our next project after making your sketchbook and doing your classroom essential agreements poster. As you can see here, there is a name, and it is surrounded by a repeating rainbow pattern. And then it has these sort of black rays, like sun rays, behind it to kind of create a cool illusion, okay? An illusion is where you create something to try to make it look like something, but it's not real, but it can sometimes trick you. Okay, so Miss Jenkins' first name is Marina, M-A-R-I-N-A. So you guys can do your first name or your last name, it's your choice. But it's really going to be so much fun, especially that you're going to get to practice some writing, and you will also get to like make some bright colors on here. All right, so let's talk about some of the materials you're going to need before we get started. You'll need a white piece of paper, and the size can be up to you. If you want to use a normal sized piece of paper, you can. If you want to fold it in half so that you have a smaller sort of name sign, that's fine as well. But if it gets too small, then it gets kind of harder to actually make this work. You also need markers or colored pencils, but I really like doing markers for this project because it really does appear bold and bright. You need an eraser, a pencil, and you need a ruler, okay? Those are the things you're gonna need for this. So let's get started with our name art project. Okay, so the first thing I want you to understand, and you can always use the new sketchbook that you made to practice your name using the size of paper that you want to use, so that you can plan your letters and make sure you get all of your letters in there before you start. So for example, Marina, my name, it has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, it has 6 letters, okay? My name has 6 letters, okay? So knowing that, the center of my name, of my letters, is R-I. M-A is at the beginning, okay? N-A for na is at the end, and right in the middle is an R and an I, okay? So if you were called Jacob, for example, let's say Jacob, you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 letters, which means 1, 2, 3, that third letter, the letter C, is the middle because you have 1, 2 letters on the left side, and on this side you have 2 more letters, O-B. So once you figure out what the middle letters of your name are, that's going to help you tremendously in planning how you put your name on here and how it's going to fit. So basically, knowing that R-I is going to be in the middle for me, I'm going to actually start in the middle when I write my name. You don't have to do this. I just think it's really helpful to do this. It makes it a lot easier to make sure I have all my letters in there. And if it looks weird and it's not centered, you can always use scissors to trim it if there's extra paper left over that you don't want there. Or you can just, adjust it and then erase it. So I have a rule in my class where if you mess up on something, you don't erase it right away. You actually fix something first before you erase. And that's the best way to get better at art, is to remember that you should adjust before you erase. Can you guys say it with me? Fix it before you erase it. Fix it before you erase it. Fix it before you erase it. So let's say I felt like my I and R are not quite in the center. I'm gonna adjust it and actually move my I over, which means I'm gonna need to move my R over as well. So that helps me see what's correct on here, what's working. And now I can go ahead and outline my correct letters with my black marker and use my eraser to take away the stuff I no longer need. And now, boys and girls, by doing that, you're able to see what was a mistake or what was not quite centered or right or even. And you can compare that to you fixing it, and it's so much easier to do it right when you do that, okay? So now that I have my RI, which is the center, I'm going to do the next letter, which is next to my R. So the next letter next to the R on this side is my A. So now I can go ahead and put my A right here, and I can put my M right next to it. So when I look at this, I can see that I can erase that a little bit because I want them to be as even as possible. I can see that I'm good here. So now I'm going to go ahead and add the NA on this side of my middle letters. So here's N, and here is my second A. Okay? Now that I have that, I'm happy with this. I feel like the space that is left over is not that much. It's, you know, there's a nice little frame around my name. And that, once that's adjusted and you have fixed anything, remember, fix it before you erase, then you can go ahead and take your black marker. And boys and girls, for the name, when you're drawing with your black marker, you want to make sure that it is a permanent marker, like a Sharpie style marker. And the reason being is because when you start using colors, you don't want the black color to blend in with, you know, other colors so it doesn't darken it. Now, if you don't have a permanent style marker, like a black Sharpie marker, then just leave your name in pencil, and then at the end, after you've done all the colors, that is when you'll be able to go back and use a black marker to fill in on top of the pencil. All right, so now that we have this done, I'm gonna go ahead and start adding my colors. And it's very simple, boys and girls. All you do is you trace around the letters, okay? So I'm gonna begin with my yellow, and I'm gonna go around it, and see how I'm going right next to my black marker. And this is a permanent marker, remember, so that's why it's not, you know, bleeding onto my yellow. But you see how I'm tracing around my letter? And now I've done the outside of the letter, but now I'm going to come on the inside and do the inside of the letter too. So I'm going to go on the inside and do that side as well. And I am trying to stick to a line quality, so I'm not just like scribbling in there and filling in the space. I'm really trying to do line next to line. You understand? Line next to line. So just like I wrote my name with the black marker or with my pencil, I'm sort of rewriting my name again using lines, but I am framing. My color is going around each letter, right next to each letter. And let's say I go out here by accident. Is it the end of the world? No, it's not the end of the world. No big deal. Just go ahead and fill that in with your yellow. I promise that that's not a big deal, because once this whole thing is complete, it's not even going to be noticeable if something's a little bit thicker. But my point is, you want to try to remain consistent. That means kind of stay as much as possible the same with the way that you do your lines, because that's how it looks really good, and that's what kind of creates that vibrating illusion. So here we go, doing my N, and look, Miss Jenkins is taking it slow. I'm not trying to rush. If I want to try to go around my letters carefully and have a line next to a line, then I can't rush, right? So you can't rush either. I'm the teacher, right? I'm the expert, and I'm not rushing, so you definitely can't rush, right? So you see I went a little further out there, but that's not a big deal. I'm just going to adjust it there, fill that in a little bit. As a matter of fact, you're even going to go slower than Miss Jenkins, because you are new to all of this stuff. So ideally what you did when you sat down is you got super excited, and then you got your materials after you heard about what you needed. You went and got that stuff together. So that means you would hit pause on the video, and then from there you could get started again with me, and you would be doing the same idea but with your own name. So now I'm moving to orange. So I'm gonna come in here and do my orange. And it's the same exact thing. So I'm just gonna, this orange marker, the tip is so skinny and fine that I'm actually purposely making my lines more, because I'm trying to double it up a little bit so that it looks just as, you know, wide as my yellow lines. I'm slowly working through this. Keep going and keep going. And now that I've got no space there to add the orange, I'm not even going to worry about it. Remember that eventually your letters will start connecting like you're seeing here. They're going to start connecting like that. So then your entire tracing is going to go around sort of the whole shape of your name, rather than just doing you know, going over the other colors. Do you understand what I'm saying? So here I'm still going over the entire A because I still have this gap of space there between the A and the R. But don't forget to go on the inside as well. I'm gonna start going on the inside too. Just need to get a little bit thicker here, a little bit thicker here. Okay, so you can see what I'm doing here, and we're just going to keep repeating the same theme, tracing around the entire letter. And once two colors have touched from one letter to the next, you are then going to trace, you're going to treat, you know, the two letters that are touching or the 5 letters that are touching as one huge letter that you trace around and inside of, okay? So I'm making my line, and then I'm filling in on the inside of that line. You see how now my yellow and orange, the dot is now touching, totally touching the bottom part of the eye. And now we've got this touching. So now once we move to the third color, you're gonna see that you're gonna be tracing around sort of the entire shape, okay? Don't wanna forget about the outside of the shape. See how right there, it goes down, but there's not a gap of white space down there. So that is going to make me stop there, and then I'm gonna go around. And while you guys are working on this, I want you to understand why this is something I want you to do. It's fun, but it's also teaching you something. It's teaching you fine motor skills. Your parents definitely know what that is, but fine motor skills are important to work on, especially when we're younger, because it's something we are still trying to practice and get better at, and that's things like writing, things with detail, cutting, having control when you're working so that you have, you know, things are neater and more clear. And you'll see as you get older, you get better at your fine motor skills. It's eating with, you know, with your fork and your knife, and it's learning how to, you know, be organized. And that's what we're going to be practicing essentially when we do this name sign. But then also you're going to end up with this really beautiful project that you're going to get to show me. Okay, so we're done with the third letter. I'm going to go ahead and move to lime green. But you do want to leave some space some white space around your name, especially on the top and the bottom, because that's where we're going to add the next step, and we want to have some space for that, okay? So here we are, almost done with my third color. So again, just a reminder, I want you to have at least 6 colors, okay? You can see on Miss Jenkins that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different colors, boys and girls, 10 different colors. But I'm gonna stop here so I can show you the next step. But what you can do, if you only have 2 or 3 colors so far, pause the video and finish up all your rainbow colors and then hit play again to see the next steps. Okay, so for the next steps, you need a ruler. So what you're going to do is you're going to find the middle of your name. For me, remember, it was the R and the I. So I'm gonna find the middle over here, and also the middle from here to here. And you can just eye it, okay? So I'm gonna put a dot right there, a dot right there with my pencil. Even if that dot ends up landing on your letters, it's okay, because you're doing it with pencil and eventually you're going to erase. So here we go again. We're using your fine motor skills to practice doing these lines. You'll do this with pencil and then eventually with black marker. I'm gonna go ahead and use black marker right away so that you can see what it looks like and make sure you can see it clearly. So I've got a ruler here. You're not gonna be measuring with the ruler. What you're gonna try to do is you're gonna try to connect your dot that's here with your ruler all the way over here, okay? So if you did this, when you're doing this with pencil, you're gonna go use your ruler from that dot and hold that ruler in place so that it's not moving. You're going to skip over this area, but because you're using pencil, if you do it lightly on top of your colors, you can easily erase that pencil line that's inside your colors. Then you're gonna turn that ruler a little bit like this. And look, it's still touching this side of the ruler. It doesn't matter where, but this side of the ruler is still touching my dot. And over here, it's going off the paper, but now it's at an angle. You see how that's working? So look how I'm spinning my paper. I'm spinning my paper so that I am able to comfortably and neatly add my lines from that center dot out towards the outer parts, outer frame of the paper, okay? So that's what Miss Jenkins is doing, always making sure that even when I slide this over, if my ruler ends up leaving the dot, just bring it back to the dot. Just make sure that part of that ruler over here is touching that dot, and then you adjust this side a little bit, and just if this moves, you adjust that side a little bit, making sure that there's always a ruler attached to your dot. And if you do that, boys and girls, your rays in the background, these lines that we're creating, are going to look amazing. But notice how I'm spinning my paper around. I am doing this so that I don't get uncomfortable with my wrists or my hands. And this is a way to get around something to get it right for the lines coming out. Now, if you didn't want to do this, you could also do vertical stripes. You could do stripes in the background if you want to. But I would really stick to lines because I think the lines look really great with the rainbow line design name. If you had too many other things in the background, it might not work as well. And we want your name to be the lead actor of your project, okay? We want it to be the shining thing, the thing that you notice really, really well, and you can see it, and the background is there, the black and white background is there, but it's just there to complement what you're doing, okay? It's there to complement and make your name look even cooler, okay? Now, with practice, eventually you would be able to like skip over the name, hit your line here again, skip over the colored area, skip over it, and go here. But if you don't feel comfortable doing that, don't do it. You can do exactly what I'm doing right now, right? Where you are going over everything with pencil. Just don't push hard with your pencil, because if you push hard and then you go back and you try to erase things, it's not going to erase very well. You're still going to have marks there, okay? So you definitely want to push lightly with your pencil. That's another thing that I've noticed with little ones, young students, they tend to push really hard with their pencils. So I'm going to try to remind you as often as possible not to push hard. Once you have this to this point, then my friends, you can go ahead, so you remember not to do anything with the lines inside the name. You can go ahead and erase those lines right on top of that marker. And you want to hold your paper really well so that it doesn't bend while you're erasing. Do you see what I'm doing? But I don't want to erase any lines that are showing up on the inside of my letters. I want to focus on erasing lines that are on top of my colors. Okay, does that make sense? The lines that are on top of my colored letters. That's what I am removing right now. Not what's on the inside of my letters, just what's on top of the colored area. And once that is removed, you can then use your ruler again to only, or if you feel like you want to practice doing it without a ruler, that's okay. You can use the marker to go in here and go right on top of your pencil lines. Right on top of your pencil lines. And if you need to do it with the ruler, then do it with the ruler. But this time you don't have to actually go on top. You don't want to go on top of your colored letters. So you want to be really careful not to do that, because we can't erase black marker. But what happens if you accidentally do go on top of your colored letters? Is it the end of the world, boys and girls? I don't think so. It's not the end of the world, because we can always take mistakes that we make and turn them into something else, or find a creative solution for something that we've done, okay? So don't worry about messing up. That is part of learning. If you never mess up, then what's the point of school, right? What's the point of your teachers? Is there any reason for us to be here to help you grow if you're already perfect at everything? That makes no sense. Miss Jenkins would be out of a job. And I love my job, so I don't want you to be amazing at everything and then I don't have a job anymore to teach you. And my job is to help you grow and teach you and to help you accept when things don't go your way. And sometimes we just have to adjust, and we have to be nice to ourselves, because it's okay to make mistakes, okay? So I am doing my lines, my black rays that are behind my colored letter. And the reason I'm doing black, boys and girls, is because, again, you want your name to be the highlight, the most special part of your name sign, and the background is just a background. And so if the background was also crazy bright colors, your name would kind of get lost in there. But when it's black and white, it's still very present, right? You can still really see it. Then what you would do in order to create the black and white spaces is you take two lines and you go ahead and you color them in. Look how I'm going left to right neatly, so I'm not scribbling and I'm staying within my line. Again, my friends, you are practicing fine motor skills when doing this project, and you're gonna be amazed at how gorgeous they are. So since I wanna do a pattern of black and white, I'm gonna skip a space, and then I'm gonna do my next space. So now I've got black, white, black, so what's next? White. White space, my next space is black, and so on and so forth, and you will go in there and do that. Now, I'm going to show you on the inside of the letters where you see some lines that are basically continued from what we were doing. You know, they are connected, but we've erased the inside. So if this is white, so I think you should do this. You skip a space, Make a mark in the space you're gonna color black, skip a space, make a mark in the color you're gonna do black in. All right, so I have definitely gone over the time that I was hoping for this, but I'm just gonna show you the finished results so you can remember what this is going to look like when you're finished with your name. Your name is gonna be gorgeous repeated rainbow lines that surround the shape of your name, and the background is gonna be those gorgeous black rays. I cannot wait to see what you accomplish. When you're complete, when you're done with this assignment, you're going to post it to Seesaw. You and your families already learned about Seesaw because we are practicing how to use it in our classrooms, and it's really a great website. And Ms. Jenkins is no longer using the hub, so you can just post your finished work in Seesaw. Your sketchbook can go there, a photograph of your Elements and Principles poster can go there, and this name sign can go there. Pay attention to the due date. Get mom and dad to help you remember when it needs to go in, when you take a picture and submit it. I love you guys, and I cannot wait to see what you do with your name. Bye-bye, everybody.